Welcome to College Recruiter, where we believe that every student and recent grad deserves a great career. I'm Anna Peters, and I am very happy to be joined today by Matt Kaiser. And Matt is going to be talking to us about how nonprofits can build a successful employer brand to help attract top talent to their organization. Matt is the Director of Recruitment at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and he's got a passion for improving the recruitment process, uncovering a unique employer brand identity, and implementing ideas to improve the candidate experience, all to attract top talent. So thank you for being with me today, Matt.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you having me.
Tell us first, Matt, about the brand that you have helped to build at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. What did you do? What did it take to build it to where it is right now? How do you distinguish it?
Yeah, I've been here just about a year and a half, and fortunately at Children's, we have a very strong brand itself, and in turn, we have a strong employer brand. A lot of people do want to work at Children's. I think the challenge that we face, I think, from an employer brand perspective is making sure that we're attracting the right talent, the talent that most closely matches up with the culture of the organization. So we get a lot of people that want to work here, and I think it's just a matter of making sure that we're attracting that right talent. The way that we're building out and really developing our employer brand here at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta is that we're really talking about the elements that make us unique, the elements that are really unique to Children's, that really truly differentiate us as an employer. So, of course, first and foremost is our mission, and that's where the purpose comes in. A lot of people want to join our organization because of our mission, and it's really making kids better today and healthier tomorrow. And of course, this impacts the kids and their families and the community. So that's certainly at the core of our message, and what we're communicating from an employer brand perspective is, join our organization and be able to really make an impact. So there's the mission, that's the core message. But I think the way that we're really differentiating us is also talking about some of those key selling points as part of our organization. So there's things like our growth and plans for the future. We have plans in the next 5 to 7 years to build a whole new campus and change the landscape of pediatrics in Atlanta.
Cool.
So we're going to have a hospital, a new center for advanced pediatrics, new support buildings for all of our support staff. So it's really exciting, and there's never been a better time really to join our organization. So we talk about that because that's really unique. We talk about our total rewards and wellness program. So there's all different programs that we offer at Children's that a lot of other organizations don't offer for our employees around wellness, and we really focus on that. And then we talk about a lot of programs and initiatives that we have in place. We talk about recognition and awards that we've won. We've been on Fortune Best Places to Work for 13 years in a row, Best Place for Working Mothers, for Millennials, and diversity. So we do talk about those elements as well. So we really try to focus on, and when we talk about those elements too, things like total rewards and wellness, we also talk about specifics around those elements. So what are some of the programs that we have in place? And I think that's what we like to do as an employer, and I think that's what truly differentiates employers. You hear a lot of companies talking about things like benefits or work-life balance or compensation and so forth. And I think all those are good, but most organizations are going to talk about that. And I think what really is going to help you to uncover your value proposition as an employer and really distinguish yourself and your employer brand is, what are some of the things that only you do? What is unique to your organization that nobody else or very few other organizations can offer, and really focusing on that. So that's really kind of what we're focused on as we really build out our employer brand.
And if I may, when it comes to recruiting and branding your employer on college campuses and to students, not necessarily on campus, but in general, I've been talking to other people recently about financial wellness and how, as an employer, providing financial wellness programs and products to Gen Z and even younger millennials is different and they have different needs than your financial, what say baby boomers and even Gen Xers will want from your financial wellness program. Does Children's Healthcare of Atlanta do much to differentiate itself in terms of financial wellness programs?
When you say, just like, what would you have as an example of financial wellness?
Well, so what I have been hearing about recently in relation to Gen Z is their need for immediate support. So compare that to so many employers that offer, say, retirement programs. And we do see Gen Z wanting to save for the long run compared to their millennial older siblings. But I keep hearing about how their immediate financial needs are much more concerning. And so an employer that is able to offer, say, pay advances or say an automatic deposit to their savings account is going to distinguish your brand from other wellness programs.
Yeah. I think I don't know that we focus so much on financial wellness programs as we do on employee wellness programs, and I think what we would call our Strong for Life programs. Yeah, more healthy programs. Of course, we want people to be, we obviously want to be take that into consideration, and we're strong when it comes to compensation and total rewards in our compensation packages and so forth. I think where we focus on the wellness programs is more to make sure that our employees are healthy and that they're getting a good work-life balance, and that we have flexibility, and that they enjoy work and enjoy coming to work. So I think that's where our focus is. We have things like Wellness Wednesday here at our office park, where every Wednesday people wear workout gear to the office, and as long as you promise to work out at least 30 minutes that day, you can actually wear workout gear to the office. So it's a little bit more casual. We have bring your dog to work day as well, because obviously we know that pets at work and dogs at work really provide for a more engaging and friendly atmosphere at the office. We have things like our concierge service, where people, if you don't have time to run errands, we have a team that actually can do that for you. We have exercise and wellness gyms and wellness programs at work. So if you don't have time after work or before work to go work out, we have those programs here at the office and at the campus. So there's all different types of things, and I think that's really what we focus on. Is obviously we want to make sure that our employees are financially secure, but we also want to make sure that they're focused on their health and taking care of themselves, so that we can also take care of our patients.
Makes sense. Talking about Gen Z, Gen Z has shown that they are very concerned, or let's say interested, in working for an organization that makes a positive impact. And so nonprofits have this advantage when they are recruiting college students that are looking at an entire array of possibilities of employers, from private sector, government, corporate, nonprofit. So are you seeing some of that change? And is your recruiting team seeing some of those changes in attitudes? And can you speak to that?
Yeah, we are. I think we probably haven't noticed it as much at our organization, at Children's, because the people that want to work at Children's have always believed in making a positive impact.
Sure.
We've been around over 100 years, and I think all of our employees, whether it's new grads and the younger generation, or more experienced professionals, they've always believed in making that impact in the lives of our patients, the families, and our community. That being said, you are correct in that more and more students and young professionals are seeking to do more than just make a paycheck. They want to know that they're making a positive impact and making a difference. So from that perspective, I think Children's is really positioned to give them that opportunity. And so we do focus on that, especially when we do our graduate recruitment, because we are seeing that. There's a lot of studies out there right now around what are the top attractors for employees in the eyes of students and young professionals, and purpose is always right up there in the top 3. And so we definitely focus on that. But I think that's always been there for us, which is nice because it's really at the core of what we do, is giving our employees that opportunity to make a difference, whether you're in human resources and finance and accounting or marketing, or whether you're a nurse or a physician or somebody that is more clinical and hands-on with the patients. So I think you kind of see that from every angle.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been in developing employer brands for some time, and you, I'm sure, have seen some mistakes out there. What are some of the mistakes that you see nonprofits particularly make when it comes to branding themselves as an employer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think probably the biggest mistake that I would see nonprofits making is that they think that the brand and the nonprofit status will really kind of sell itself. And I think while many people want to work for an organization that makes a difference, you also need to share, like I talked about a little bit early, some of those unique offerings and really showcase your value proposition as an employer. So I do think that nonprofit status and the fact that you're focused on giving back and focused on the community, I think that is a strong point, but I think that's not the only point. And so I think it's really uncovering what are some of those other key elements that are going to make a difference and ultimately make that help that employee or help that candidate to make a decision on why they should choose you. And that's what employer branding does. It's about understanding some of those elements, because when you're competing for talent, branding is that strategy that really helps propel the notion of what's different, better, unique, and more compelling about your organization, and does ultimately answer that question, why choose you?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, at Children's, our mission is really at the heart of what we do, and consequently, it's at the heart of our message to candidates as well. But we also talk about some of our key selling points, and we even segment that message with different audiences. So if we're talking with a nurse, we might talk about things like My Path, which is our learning and development and career growth and career path opportunities that's only unique to Children's, or nursing wellness, or flexible scheduling programs. When we talk with physicians, we might talk about things like our collaborations with universities in the area, or our research, physician wellness, how some of our programs are on U.S. News and World Report honor roll. So those are the types of things that we focus on along with that mission. So I think that's something that nonprofits should think about, is not just relying on that kind of purpose and mission, but also other elements that they know that would be attractive to the organization.
Yeah, especially since you are probably competing for talent that is looking at other nonprofits. So your selling point that differentiates you from other nonprofits is not necessarily the positive impact that somebody would make. You're right. You have to really differentiators.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me. The investment that it takes to really build up your employer brand for nonprofits, and I've worked for nonprofits, and the resources for many are just not there. So it can be daunting to even plan for what it would take to build an employer brand. What are some real ways, either in your experience or what you've seen other people do, for leaders in recruitment and employer branding to get their brand to resonate without having to spend and build a whole budget around it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So, anytime you're talking about a nonprofit organization, obviously there is a heavy focus on budget and making sure that you're doing as much as you can without obviously having a lot to invest. And that's I think every nonprofit really falls into that category. I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do this without having to invest significant budget, and that's something that we're looking at as an organization. I think probably the number one way is really to engage your leaders and your employees to really help you to, number one, strengthen your employer brand and get your message out, but also to share information content in your jobs and really get your jobs to the right people. So it's really about engaging your employees and your workforce in that, because from our perspective, nurses know other nurses and physicians know other physicians. So we always make it a point when we have our jobs posted out there to share them with our leaders and encourage them to share them with employees, because if they're sharing their jobs with their networks, it's going to help us to reach that right audience. So that's probably the best way. We really have a grassroots approach to this. We look for support in 4 key areas. So we look for referrals. So we always encourage employee referrals. Glassdoor reviews for us is big as well, because we want to make sure that when people are going out to research us, that they're seeing positive comments. Supporting us at events is the 3rd way, and then sharing our jobs and content on social media. So if we can get our leaders and our employees to do those 4 things, then it's really going to help us to strengthen our employer brand and also help us to make good hires. So I think that's the biggest thing. Social media is another key part of what we do. So we leverage our corporate channels. We actually don't have careers channels, at least not to this point. It's something that we've talked about, but we leverage our corporate channels, and we're consistently posting our jobs out there, posting content, stories. That's a big one for us too, is posting stories out there about our patients and about our employees. So that's something that's really powerful and gives us a good chance to attract talent that where those stories resonate. Press releases and articles, we also share those with a lot of our candidates. So we're always doing press releases and articles, and people really like to see positive content about an organization, not necessarily advertising, but articles and positive content about an organization. So we certainly share that. There's also programs and partnerships. So we have made it a point to go out and look at local organizations and how can we establish a partnership with them. So one of the organizations we've established a partnership with here is Goodwill. So we have a whole department here, which is called Support Services, and it's all of our employees who support the clinical operations. And so Goodwill has a really strong candidate base for us when it comes to support services. So we now have a partnership where we send our jobs to them, and we also host monthly hiring events with them. And it doesn't cost us anything, and it's a win-win for everybody. So, our jobs are out there. We need good people. Goodwill obviously needs to find jobs for their people, and the candidates need jobs. So it's really kind of a win-win for everybody. And so that's been a nice piece for us to add to our recruiting platform.
That's smart.
We also leverage. What's that? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, does that relate to, you made a point in the beginning of our conversation about how your challenge at Children's is not necessarily getting enough applicants in the door and branding to the whole world, but it is selecting or branding to the right kind of candidates. So would you say that partnership with Goodwill that's what it's all about?
Exactly. And that's a great point, Anna. I think it is really trying to get our message out to the right audience. And so, we don't need, 700 or 800 applications. If we can get 50 or 100 of the right people, and they're already qualified, they're already vetted, they already have good skills, and they've been working with Goodwill on some of their skills, that really gives us a leg up, because we know that they're going to provide us good candidates. So you're exactly right. I think it's finding more of that right talent. Yeah.
That's great. Smart choice.
But yeah, I mean, those are some of the things. There's a number of other things that we're looking at. Things like, we leverage our corporate events. We set up tables at our corporate events. We're looking into hosting and conducting webinars with different organizations to generate awareness of us. So I really think it's just thinking about ways that you can really strengthen your brand, amplify that message, get your message out to the right audiences. It's really about keeping your organization top of mind with candidates out there, so that when they're ready to make a move, they think about you, but also getting, like you said, that right audience, targeting that right talent. So there's a lot of ways I think that you can do it without having a large budget.
Right. Good. Great advice. Thank you so much, Matt. I think this is helpful, and hopefully will provide some food for thought for people who are challenged with us.